was actually here because of my family, first and foremost. Not that I don't love you guys and want to see you, but it was my grandmother's wish. She's in the back there. Say hi, Grandma. It was my grandmother's wish to come here as a bucket list adventure, bucket list trip of a lifetime. She's turning 82 on the 29th, so it's really, really special. And then I realized, I'm like, wow, my grandmother wants to be here in London for her birthday. And I knew that we had a big UK team, and I was like, maybe 30 people, 50 people might come. And there's way more than 200 here, so this is really, really, really amazing. So thanks for being here. So, first time in London, and how many of you guys have heard my story? Put your hands up. All right, cool. So I'm going to not necessarily bore you with the story again you've already heard. I want to give you some new context. I want to talk about some things that you maybe haven't heard, maybe that hasn't been on my podcast and things like that. Is that cool with you guys? Something new, something different? All right, sweet. So yesterday we arrived to London the day before, and yesterday was our first day. And I booked us a private tour around sort of the landmarks, I guess you could say, like Buckingham Palace and Big Ben and some of these cool places. And when we went there, we went to the palace, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I wasn't born into royalty. Who here in the room was born into royalty? Anybody? All right. And I know it's funny and everything, but I was like in awe of the structures and the buildings and Big Ben. I didn't even know Big Ben was like made of gold. I was like, whoa, that was pretty cool. I thought it was a big clock. And so anyway, the reason why I bring this up is because my family, I just spent 2 weeks in Hungary at my grandmother's house. She got that house in the same year my mother was born. And so she's been there for 58 years in the same home in a small town in Hungary, okay? And so that's where my story started from. How many of you guys started from a small town or humble beginnings, or your parents were hardworking people just trying to make ends meet, create a better life? Yeah? And I've had an opportunity to have great conversations with my grandmother late at night in her bedroom, just having these chats. And, you know, we've been asking her these questions about her journey and her life and being 82 and what are some of her fondest memories. And she's so grateful. You know, my mother doesn't complain, grandmother, she doesn't complain, she's grateful, she's always in the moment, she's present, and it's been really beautiful and humbling because when we have these conversations of me sharing with her sort of what I do, how I do it, my business and stuff, it's all so different for her, right? And she always has these ways of saying these little comments or these little remarks that is like pure gold. It's like wisdom. And she says to me, she says, grandson, the whole point is for you to carry the family legacy to the next place. That's the whole point. There's no point in us repeating the same things that our parents struggled with, or our grandparents, or previous generations. The whole point is for us to pass the torch, and that next generation carries it forward. So this is the greatest joy for my grandmother to be in this room, to see this. So she's like, what is even happening? But it's perfect, right? It's amazing. And I said to her, I'm like, there's, be a casual couple hundred people. She's like, what? A couple hundred people for like a casual meetup, which is kind of what it feels like. It's a bit casual. I know you guys put in a lot of work. Super casual for me. I just showed up. Zero work. Show up. But the point is, it's like, that's how it's supposed to be. So when we look at our childhood and the things that we've been through and some of the struggles that we had as kids, it's all perfect. And a lot of us in the room still haven't actually let go of that pain. We're still holding on to that pain. Some of you guys are still repeating the same stories and the same beliefs and the same everything of, you didn't have enough quality time with your family, or that it was hard and you struggled when you were a child because you didn't have a lot of money, your parents had to say no, or things you wanted to do you couldn't do and it was hard to bear with that. You're still holding on to that story. But if you shift it and just own it, that it's perfect, exactly how it is and exactly how it's been, then you get to write a new story moving forward. Does that make sense for everybody? Yeah. So as I grew up, I had a lot of challenges as well. I felt lost for a long time. How many of you guys have felt lost, like you just don't belong in anything you want to do, right? And I felt like that too, like up until the age of 25, I got fired from 12 different jobs, and I thought that I personally just wasn't even capable or good enough to have a job because I kept getting fired. So my self-worth was attached to me getting let go of all these jobs. But the reason I was actually getting let go is because I was thinking for myself, which is frowned upon in general society, right? As we know with COVID and all the bullshit the last few years, how dare you think for yourself? How dare you ask a question when something doesn't make sense? How dare you do that? Shut up, do as you're told, even if it makes zero sense. So I got fired because I was thinking for myself. You're in this room because at one point you have been thinking for yourself. And until you find people like us, people like you, all of us together, that feels weird. You won't feel like you belong. So that community piece is really, really massive. So anyways, the point is that when I saw the future of what the life that I wanted to create was, I had to forge my own path. And that's what you're doing here. Even though you're part of a community, even though you are, thanks. Right as I'm like getting pasties here with tap water. By the way, guys, you guys did an amazing job putting this event on, but how the heck do you not have the water, guys? Big no-no for next time. You gotta get the water. Where was I saying? So I had to forge my own path. And when we first got introduced to Enagic, it was like the complete opposite of what we've all created here together, right? It was older people with health issues. Everybody was sick and tired and hurting, and they weren't even talking about the business most of the time. Did you guys know there's an entire like 10 or 15 year window in Enagic's company history prior to like the early 2000s where people would go to a presentation, see a live demo, learn about the products, and didn't even know that Enagic's compensation plan and business was a thing. Because the culture at that time was the money story and the limiting beliefs and like, oh, we can't tell them because they think we're just trying to sell it to make money. All of that was being carried by a lot of the people in the company. And so there's a lot of people that have this machine from that period of time that didn't even know that this could set them free. Isn't that crazy? And so because of our story and how things came together with the water, we found out about the compensation plan in a kind of a weird way also. And then after that, I started asking questions, and I'm a really big believer in feedback. All of our answers that we want, all of the answers that we're searching for, we can get it if we ask for feedback. Whether that's from our parents, excuse me, it's time for some water. It's usually where I go, so good, but this time I'm like this. But thanks for the ladies who brought that huge thing to my hotel yesterday. I appreciate that. But I ran out. So if we ask for feedback, we can actually learn so much from our interactions with other people. And that's basically what I started to do, is that every time something wasn't working in my life, in my business, whether it's personally, clutch, family comes through, teamwork, thank you. Only thing is it's a white bottle, unacceptable. So good. I know you guys are jealous. Yeah. We don't have enough to share right now, I'm sorry. So asking for feedback. So basically, when I started building this business, I was completely going against the grain. Nothing I wanted in this company made any sense to anybody else. I wanted to be working with young people. I wanted to work with healthy people that didn't have a lot of health problems. I wanted to focus on lifestyle and business. And I wanted to set people up for the long term because I was young too and I didn't have a path. I felt lost. I dropped out of college. I didn't make money. Like all these things, and I'm like, this is a vehicle that I believe in because it changed my life, my health. Who gave that testimonial? What was her name up here? Emily. Amazing. I'm like, you were sharing that and it was bringing back so much of what I've been through, and that's what you shared about the blueprint and everything else. I never got diagnosed with IBS literally. it was a bunch of question marks, like we don't know, you're healthy and all this stuff, but something was wrong. So the water changed my life first. But then when I discovered that we were sharing the water and we could make money from helping people, I was like, wait a second. So we can get paid to make a difference in someone's life. That was such a new concept to me at the time. I'm like, so we can change someone's life and we get a little bit of money, a little bit of a commission, and they get to change everything, right? Some of you still have a lot of limiting beliefs right now about the price of these machines. Some of you still have limiting beliefs and self-worth issues that you don't think that you're worthy or good enough to sell a $10,000 or $15,000 package, trifecta, quad, whatever. That's craziness. Because you can change someone's life. How much money do people spend on a handbag? More than the cost of a quad, or a suit, or a watch. These things that are cool, sure, I like cool things too, but do they change every single area of your life? Not even close, right? So we need to make that shift immediately around what we're worthy of and what we can do for other people, and your business will start to soar. Because sometimes if we have those limiting beliefs around making a sale, which is why I was stuck for 5 years in this business, you can't communicate effectively to somebody from that place. You have to communicate from a place of the money that I receive is a small little tiny little fraction of what you receive when I help you with this. Does that make sense for everybody?
Yeah.
Can I get a hell yeah? Yeah! I'm gonna do that more, that was awesome. So ultimately, when I saw what was going on with this company, I believed in it, I saw the future, and that's what I really want to plant the seed within yourself right now, that even though this company is about to be 50 years old next year, it's still the beginning. It's still early. How many of you guys know that this is still the beginning? That you guys are early to this company? It completely goes against typical timelines, because 50 years does not feel early at all, right? But on the flip side, if Enagic has a 500-year comp plan or a 500-year vision for their business, we're only 10% of the way in. And they do have a 500+ year vision. So imagine what's possible for all of us when we see that. So I got started, and I was like, look, I want to have a global prosperity movement. I was like, that's the vision. And I had 7 people in my living room. And I just finished doing a science experiment with pH drops. And it was people were just I don't know, man, looking around. I was like, anybody in? And they're like, I don't know, man, the water tastes pretty good. I don't know about no movement and stuff. And it was just a lot of negativity. And then a couple of people saw the vision. And I'm like, look, all we got to do is build it locally, man. Eventually, we live in such a multicultural world. Everybody moves around. Everybody lives everywhere else. It's just a matter of time before somebody's like, hey, I got family over there. Or I live over there. Or I know someone on the internet who's in there. I knew it was eventually going to happen. I just didn't know exactly how. And so we planted the seed. And the next thing you know, I go to this event, and I met this guy, and he introduces me to Clint. Who knows Clint X. Morgan? So this story was so crazy to me because I kept saying yes to every single opportunity in my business journey until I got to a place where I could say no. How many of you right now are prioritizing your business to the point that every single opportunity that you can to move forward, you say yes to? Not many people are actually truly doing that. Be honest. How many people are continuing to say yes to show up to their business as a priority over everything else? Yeah, thanks for being honest. There's 5 people who put their hands up. So what are the rest of you guys doing? Well, the rest of you guys are choosing what you want today over what you say you want for your whole life. Every single decision is either getting you closer to your dreams and what's possible, or taking you away from that. Does that make sense? So there's a season for me for 3 years that my business was number one. It was number one above my health. It was number one above my marriage and relation. I wasn't married yet. But we talked about it, and she agreed, and she was on board with it. But I said this is a temporary season. And that's what turned this whole thing into what it is today. That 3-year window, where I was absolutely obsessed. Yes, yes, yes. Balazs, can you talk to this lead? Yes. Hey, it's 3 a.m. when we convert the time, blah, 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 because they're in Australia. Yes. How many times did I wake up in the middle of the night to do calls? A lot. I was on my phone all day. My thumbs, I still have scar tissue. No joke. I know it sounds like crazy. I actually go to physio once a week, and I have a physio who's working out scar tissue in my thumbs because of how fast I can text. Seriously, I'm pretty fucking fast. And the reason I prefer to text over calls and stuff is because I had like 30 conversations going at once. So I'd be like, back to the next one, all the way down the list, back to the top. And I had 30 going at a time, by myself. My thumbs are still fucked. I can swear as I want to, and it's all good. We've already established this earlier, right? We just do it anyway. So the point is that we made that type of commitment into our businesses where every single decision, every single choice was, okay, it's either this or a future and everything in it. When you have money, time, energy, focus, attention, all of these resources, you're always choosing, is it gonna go towards my highest potential, my vision, my dream, or is it gonna do what I want right in this moment? Does that make sense for everybody? So then, my business started to actually grow. And I remember one of the funniest parts about this that I laugh about now is I got mad at my team the first time I got a commission check and I wasn't responsible for closing the sale. Can you guys believe that? I was pissed. How fucking dare you? And then I told my mentor and he's like, that's kind of the point, man. That's how you have residual income. That's how you have a business. That means you're getting duplication. And I was like, yeah, but I don't like it. Because like I don't know this person and I didn't have a chance to like overcome their objections and get to know them and stuff, which I really took a lot of pride in. And then my business started to grow and grow and grow and duplicate. And it wasn't until 3 years in that I hit -3, and I was -3 for so I just hit -6, which is pretty cool, right? Yeah. Holy shit. I still can't believe that. I still can't believe that, to be honest, because there was a point in time when I first started in my business that 6A seemed impossible. How many of you guys in this room right now haven't even made a single sale yet? Put your hand up. Okay, amazing. And how many of you guys think 6A is quite outlandish to even hit right now? Be honest, this is an open, honest room. Like, 6A, are you fucking serious? Like, what do you mean 100 machines that are thousands of dollars each? It does actually seem insane. So if you feel that way and you think it's insane, that is normal. None of you should think it's not insane in the beginning. It's completely outside of anything that anyone in your family has probably ever done, right? If they're coming from an hourly working wage or hardworking class citizen and so on, like most of our parents, who the fuck do you think you are? You're gonna sell 100 water filters that are thousands of dollars to hit this rank of 6A, right? It is breaking every single belief and paradigm in your brain. It is going against everything that you've ever known to be true about life itself. It's a pretty big fucking task, right? So once you start to overcome this, everything starts to change. And so for me, I just took it one step at a time. I was like, I just gotta make one sale, man. Forget the 6A 100 sales. Just one. I made one. I'm like, if I can do one, I could probably do another. And then two. And then that's how it continued. And every single time, I just continued to go to the next step. You know, I have this analogy where I push a chair. And it's kind of a silly analogy because I developed this thought in door-to-door sales. And my office was like basically the size of the stage, maybe a little bit wider, with this huge boardroom table. And when I was teaching my new sales guys, I go, look, you're trying to make thousands of dollars a paycheck, but you can't see it. It's not possible. Just push the chair, see how far it rolls. And it would roll like 10 feet, 15 feet, the size of the office. Anyways, that's the target. Then you get to the target, you push the chair again. We've been pushing the chair for 10 years, and now we're at -6. Isn't that crazy? So whatever right now is intimidating you about this business, understand one simple thing. You just have to do the next step, right? So what is that next step for you? It might be your first sale. That's all you need to focus on right now. Don't get overwhelmed by all the other minutia. Just focus on that one sale. And where the fuck was I? Who can remind me? Let's do a test. Who's listening? Who's listening? The chair? No, before the chair. Anyways, I lost my trail of thought. I was saying something cool about One step at a time, no, before that. At a point, I swear. Parents, yes, there we go. That's where the trail of thought was. So anyway, so when we were growing up, no, that's not where I was.
Sing yourself.
Oh yeah. Bam. Thanks, guys. I'm on London time zone, so it's an hour difference from Hungary, so I'm pretty all fucked up and jet lagged, you know. Just joking. Okay, so 6A. So anyway, so it seemed like this impossible thing to hit 6A, and as we continue to grow to that place, my leadership had to catch up. And this is the biggest thing about where you guys are at right now, is sales is the name of the game initially, not all this other stuff. Like, there can be so much overwhelming amount of information coming at you. Do this, do that, do that. The most important thing in the beginning is to become a producer. That's it. So we talk a lot about leadership, we talk a lot about other stuff. That all comes later. You need to learn how to produce sales. That's it. Because what happens from that point is your journey becomes inspiring and relatable. Without sales in a business, your ability to attract higher caliber people goes way down. Does that make sense? So you're going to be stuck in the excuse circle of everybody talking about their problems and complaining. You guys with me on this? Yeah. So one of the things that was an advantage for me, because I came from the door-to-door sales background, is I knew how to run the numbers of tracking how many people I spoke to and how many people I needed to talk to get a sale, and that's all I did. So if it was like one sale in every 10 conversations, then I had to be like, how frequently do I want to have 10 conversations to make a sale? And then once someone got started, one of the smartest things I did is I actually told them, look, you're going to be by my side shadowing me until you hit 4A. As soon as you hit 4A, you're on your own. You're now independent leader, because I'm gonna work with the next person. So right now, for those of you that haven't made a single sale yet, here's what I want you to think about in terms of your focus. Write this down. What area of your life right now is the biggest area for you to make a change? So let's say you're overweight. Fitness and getting healthy and getting discipline around what you eat, going to the gym, going for a walk, dropping weight needs to be one of your key focuses. Here's why. Because as you transform in front of other people's eyes, they're going to have questions. Why are you all of a sudden getting your life together? What's changed? What's new? What's different? It's inspiring, right? Physically, visibly, you're changing. And then the community is next. And then the attitude and mindset is next. These are all intangible things that are not connected to sales. And then people get attracted to you because they want to partner with somebody who's growing. That's where personal growth comes from. Personal growth isn't a selfish thing. Personal growth is something that you can put on display. Does that make sense? Here's another point. How many of you right now are completely afraid to put yourself out there and be seen? Hands up. Hands up. Who's afraid of showing their face on Instagram stories or live streams or videos or making ads or all that stuff? Put your hand all the way up, real high. Keep your hand up if you also haven't made your first sale yet. Shit, that's a surprise. Okay, so a lot of you are afraid and you're making sales? That's interesting. So you're doing it anyways. Fear the fear and do it anyway. So in my opinion, one of the things that I had to let go of is all the fears that I had, including the money beliefs, including the putting my face out there, doing content. You know, in the beginning for me, it was written posts. It wasn't so much video initially. And I would make these Instagram, or actually it was Facebook posts that were very bold. And sometimes I reshare those memories. I don't know if you guys have seen them, like on my stories and stuff. But I was like speaking so confidently that I was going to create success or, you know, have a global prosperity movement or change people's lives before I had any evidence of it. How many of you guys are doing this right now? Speaking it into existence, calling it forward. You guys need to do that more. Because one of the most beautiful things about it is you're holding yourself accountable, right? By doing that. It's like, here's what I'm going to do, watch me. And then all the haters and all the people that don't believe in it and all that stuff, they have to eventually at least respect it. That's how I see it. So it's like, if you're going to be like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds, and you put it on your social media, and then you go lose 30 pounds, super respectable, right? You just gain credibility in the marketplace because people are watching that. Then you say, hey, look, I'm going to start an online business. I'm going to quit my job. I don't know exactly when, but I will. Watch me. And then it doesn't matter about 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. It's like, this is the goal. Watch me do it. And then you do it. Gain credibility in the marketplace. So every single time you speak it into existence and you follow through on it, your sales will go up, your business will grow, you'll be able to recruit higher level caliber people. But most of you guys are afraid to put that out there because you're worried, what if I don't? What if I don't do it? What if I give up? What if I give in? What if I make excuses? But that is what turns you into the person you need to become, is like boldly saying it and following through. And then when you don't feel like doing it, you're like, oh shit, I told the whole internet, you know, doesn't matter how many followers you have. I always think about it as like all of the internet when I post out there, right? It's like way more powerful for me. I gotta follow through, man. You gotta make it happen. So let's talk about timelines a little bit. I think this is a really powerful point. Is we hear a lot of these stories about numbers, and by the way, give it up for the speakers today. They did an amazing job. Right? Epic. Keep clapping, I gotta drink water. It gets awkward when you're like, gulp, gulp, gulp. Anyway, so let's talk about timelines. One of the biggest things about numbers and timelines is that, you know, we often feel like we're behind. How many of you guys feel like you're behind schedule? You know, you get anxiety, stress, fear. Oh my gosh, I should be here by now. I should have quit my job by now. I should have made my first sale by now. I should be 6A by now. And it's all this feeling of being behind constantly. I'm behind, oh my God, right? It's not a good place to operate from. Do you think it's a good place to operate from? No, right? Because you're feeling lesser than. You're like, it's like negative self-sabotaging self-talk, just feeling behind. And then if you have a family and children and other responsibilities, you're feeling behind there as well. And man, I'm not good enough of a mom, and like, I'm not good enough of a dad, and I gotta do this, I gotta be here, I gotta be there. Man, you're not gonna create success like that. So what if all of you are way ahead of schedule? What if that? What if that simple shift, whether you made a sale yet or not, whether you're at a rank or not, whether you quit your job or not, you're ahead of schedule? Is that a powerful perspective shift? To remind yourself, I'm ahead of schedule. Now, how many of you guys in this room are under the age of 100? Put your hands up. Okay, keep your hands up, keep your hands up. Okay, if you're under the age of 90, keep your hands up. Under the age of 80, keep your hands up. Okay, cool. My grandma had to put her hand down. Okay, 70, 60, 50. Wow, amazing. 40. Wow, 30. Okay, go back up. 30, go back up to 40. Okay, 35. Wow, 30. Okay, so without an adjective, oh wait, let's keep going. 20, 25. 20. You wouldn't be in an adjective if you're under that, right? I think it's like, what, 19 is the legal age or something? 18? Who's 18? Oh my God, you guys are legends. I'm not allowed to talk about what I was doing at 18. But I wasn't there in your shoes. Anyway, so once again, if you didn't have an adjective, and you didn't have this mindset and this awareness, what would the alternative path look like for you? What would you be okay with week to week, paycheck to paycheck, your regular life? When is retirement age for everyone else? Yeah, anywhere, you know, I think early retirement in some places could be considered 55, 60 in that range, and then a lot of people at 65, right? You guys know what the average death expectancy or life expectancy is for people in America? I don't know about 78 for men and 81 for women. So we're supposed to work our whole lives to 65 and then maybe have 15 years to go. And that's when we're supposed to have fun. That's when we're supposed to travel. That's when we're supposed to do the things we're passionate about. Come on, guys. That's messed up. And here we are feeling some type of way that you're behind when you have this. Are you serious? Even if it took you way longer than you thought, you're still going to get way ahead by 65, worst case. You understand what I'm saying? And in this business, it's like everything you do on a daily basis is preparing you and setting you up to become super lucky. That's how I look at it. The power of one, to me, is luck. matched with daily action. Because every day if you show up and you do the process, you do the process, you do the process, you follow the method, you follow the process, you keep showing up, you keep taking action, it's just a matter of time before you get lucky. And when you get lucky in the power of one, you have a business partner that ends up trumping all the previous sales and people you brought in your business, just one individual. And I know firsthand. Because my business, let me tell you guys a crazy story. I hit 6A2, and I had 6 people in my organization that were 6A at the time. Not a single one of those people are still in my business or 6A. Or like active. They're all dead. No, they're alive. They're not actually dead. They're dead to me, but they're alive. I pulled out a Kevin O'Leary quote, like, you're dead to me, you know? If you guys watch Dragon's Den? Anyways. So that's crazy, right? Because I got to this business, I had these friends, we became really close business partners, everything was going awesome, and then all of a sudden, one by one, betrayal, backstabbing, jealousy, envy, rumors, gossip, lies, all this shit happened to me in like a few months. Isn't that insane? So if you've gone through some stuff in your business, understand that like you're paying your dues for like the big success that you want, and it's inevitable that's happening. And the speakers earlier, talked about it around the ups and downs and ebbs and flows. That's completely normal in this business. And in my journey, there's been a lot of crazy stuff that's happened. And even for the first 3 years, it was all offline. I was still considered the bad guy in Enagic overall because I was changing the way we were doing things. We created the trifecta. Well, that wasn't cool. Nobody liked that. I'm like, why not? You make more money. You help more people with 3 of the best products. Like, doesn't that make a lot of sense? No, you can't be doing that because it's not fair. And people only have enough money for 1 product, not 3. I'm like, who says who? So I was the bad guy. Then we went online and I was the bad guy again because it's like, oh, how dare you not do live demos and do the water? I was the bad guy again. So my whole life, including Enagic, I've been labeled as someone who is a troublemaker, a class clown, can't follow instructions, which is why I get fired from all these jobs. Like, I've never had it easy, or I was never agreeable with the general people. It was always like, this guy, man, why can't he just fall in line? Why can't he just do it the way that we teach it? Especially some of the OGs in Enagic, which I have a lot of respect for. I got no beef with nobody. I respect them for going first and doing what they've done. But looking down towards what I'm doing, I'm the bad guy because I'm making them look stupid, or no, I'm not. Why don't you do it this way if you want? You know what I mean? So across your journey, your friends that don't understand is normal. It's not just your friends. How many of you guys have supportive friends where every single one of your friends is like, yeah, this is the best business model ever, and like, I want to see you go all the way. Like, I want to see you be a millionaire. Or you got some weird-ass energy with some people that you know. Weird-ass energy, hands up? Yeah, exactly. They're not in this room for a reason, guys. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what we're trying to create here, less than 5% of the global population even thinks this is a possibility. And it's starting to shift. Isn't that cool? We are the ones on the front lines shifting the way people believe they can live their lives. So as earlier it was mentioned, like, you can't think that you're not good enough or significant enough or important enough, because in the future, your individual businesses could be the same size as my current business right now. That's how early we are. You know what I mean? We're doing over 5,000 units a month. 25% of Enagic's global sales are coming from GPM. I, the same guy, didn't believe I could do 6A 10 years ago. Right? So any of those challenges or setbacks or things that you feel like are not adding up for you or not making sense for you or it's hard for you, that's exactly the point. That's the point of what you're doing. That's the work. Do you understand that? That's the work, because the business is not hard. Let's be honest here, guys. I always say to people when they say this is hard, I say, compared to what? I've been a baker. Graveyard shift. That shit was fucking hard. I was making fucking buns. I was karate chopping buns, like hundreds of buns, like this, in like 45-degree heat, wearing white pants covered in flour, sweating. Oh, it was weird, man. I started like turning into like a piece of bread by like the morning. That shit was fucking hard. Then I couldn't go home and sleep because I was awake all night and it was weird and my rhythm was all screwed up. That was hard. I worked in roofing job, tar and gravel. You know what tar and gravel is? Anybody know what that is? It's literally spinning tar in this hot fucking thing in the summer, because that's when you do roofing jobs, because it's dry. And you're spinning this thing, you're wearing gloves, you're wearing like a helmet, and this mask, and this long pants, and it's like 30-something degrees outside. And you got to carry hot buckets of tar, pull it up on like this pulley thing, the thing's swinging, hot tar is like above your head, you're like, that's safe. Then you go and put it on the roof, and then you got to use the stupid thing, and then drop rocks on it. Like, it's ridiculously hard. And stupid, by the way. I don't want to do that job. Right? Door-to-door sales, hard as fuck. These are all hard things. This business is so much simpler and easier. You know what's hard? Is admitting what you need help with. That's hard. Because some of you guys need therapy. Most of us need therapy, actually. Probably all of us need therapy, let's be real. Including me. So we need to go and find out what help we actually need. Because if we can get the help from professionals on the inner side of our things, from our childhood, from our beliefs, from our money patterns, all that stuff, then the business becomes a lot easier. So lean into that. Because the only reason you haven't tried it is because you haven't admitted that you might need that. Why don't you just go find out? Why don't you go explore, right? Once you can overcome some of this stuff from your childhood, the business becomes simpler because you're like, that's what's really been in my way. Does that make sense for everybody?
Yeah.
All right. What else stories can I share with you guys? It's a good one. who's got the laugh? There you are. I can always find you. You're like my mom. But my mom's not laughing. Like, you guys should just hang out and laugh together.
Laughing therapy.
She's got an awesome laugh too. All right. What should I talk about? You have any ideas? Oh, Dash 6. Okay, this is a good one. I'll tell you guys a story about how we hit Dash 6. So obviously it's been 10 years in the making, right? So it's not like we actually did it just recently. But whenever you get close to a rank and you can kind of see what's missing, then you can do what we call a run, right? Have you guys ever done a run? Yep. A rank run. You can like do a run to 2A as well, right? It's just it's just pretty simple compared to Dash 6. Anyway, trust me, it's all a run in the big picture. But so one side of my business does about 70% of the monthly sales. Okay, one side, and that's the online side, the GAZ side. That's the side that all of you are on. So that side does 70% of business, and because it does 70% business, it always ranks up first, that side, right? So it always gets to Dash 5 or whatever the next level is on that side first, and then my other side has to catch up. So that other side for me is primarily the Australian side. That's not the only people on that side, but it's one of the big teams on that side. And Christy and Clint are my really close friends, and they're the top leaders on that side, and they just went Dash 5. They're amazing. And so Christy and I have an awesome close friendship, and she messages me at the beginning of January this year, and she says, hey Balazs, let's have our Dash 6 run for you. And I'm like, okay. She's like, we gotta do a world tour, and we gotta do this, and we gotta do 90-day sprint and all this stuff. And she's excited. Now, you gotta understand that if your downline is excited about helping you rank up to the next level, that's a really good thing. How many of you guys have downline members reaching up to you saying, let's get you promoted? That's a really good thing. That means you're an incredible leader. That means you give a lot to your community. That means they have a lot of respect, and everybody understands it's a win-win-win-win-win, right? Everybody ranks up together, elevates the community, everybody wins. So Christy initiates this with me. Let's do this run. Let's do it in 90 days. I'm like, all right, let's go. She's like, we're gonna do a legacy line mentorship. So every person who needed to rank up is going to be in this close-knit, every day we talk, every day we hold each other accountable. What are you doing? How are you growing? What's missing? How many sales you need to generate? And it was like all-out massive action with this specific line of leaders and individuals. So we started doing this weekly call, and I'm teaching them strategies on how to accelerate their businesses, how to get to the next level, and so on and so on. And 90 days passes, and we had probably, I don't know the exact number, but I think 4 or 5 people ranked up to the rank they needed to in the first 90 days, and there was like 8 or 9 still hadn't yet. So we're like, okay, well, we didn't quite hit the goal, and the goal was to do it by convention, which we knew was going to be in July. So then me and Chrissy chatted, we're like, let's keep the run going. So we finished a 90-day sprint. The next day, started another 90-day sprint to get us over the line, which is basically just a sprint until it's done, right? So we kept going. Now a couple more people hit the rank. We get to close to the end of June, and end of June was the cutoff. That's when everybody needed to rank up. And so at this point, there's a lot of stuff coming up for people. Self-worth issues, excuses, oh, I can't because I have summer plans. And so these people that said they were all in, one by one start kind of going, but I don't know if I can do it and stuff. And there was this one person in particular, I'm not going to give any names because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Great person, no personal thing. They just kind of said one thing and acted a different way, aka no action. Anyways, so then I reached down to someone below them who was actually seriously about to go all in, and started working with this individual. And she says to me, I need 70,000 in sales, but the DBS team, which is like people that close sales on your behalf, that's how some communities have it set up, is booking 3 weeks out into July, and we had like 10 days left in June. So I said to her, look, fill my calendar for the next 24 hours. Which doesn't seem like a big deal, except I haven't been doing sales calls in quite some time. And I was like, let's go, let's do it. So she goes, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, fill my calendar, keep doing these calls. I talked to my wife, my daughter, and I said, listen, Dad's unavailable for the next day. My wife's kind of like, are you serious? What are you doing? I'm like, watch me work, let's go. So then I'm literally barely coming up, like upstairs, have a little bit of food, have some water, and I'm like, she's like telling me about her day, and I'm like, baby, I love you. I gotta be on a call in 45 seconds. Back to the office. So I'm on these calls, and I closed $72,000 in sales in 24 hours. Very cool. Then there was a chat with the legacy people that we were working with for like 6 months, and they were celebrating that they did $64,000 in sales in 5 days from another part of the business that needed to rank up, not the person I was working with. And then I go in there and I'm like, hey, that's fucking awesome, great job. I did 72,000 in 24 hours, step the fuck up. and then someone's like, oh shit, he still got it. So we had a lot of fun. Anyway, turns out that still wasn't enough. Now we're like days away from the cutoff. What happened is it's all kind of a blur. It was really intense there for a bit. And then so from there's all these people like, oh, I don't get paid for 2 weeks. I got to do this, I got to do that. I'm like, all right, let's start paying people's in-house financing deposits for them. So I start paying out of pocket. I'm like, okay, $8,000 for you, $1,000 for you. You need to start doing that. Because I knew that within 1 month of being -6, I'll make probably 15 times more than that money. So it was like dire situation. These people are kind of losing their minds going, what? He's gonna pay for the deposit? I'm like, yep, you're very lucky. This is like my charitable contribution in this 10-day window just because you happen to be here at this time. So this is my gift to you. And they're losing it, crying and shit, being grateful, sending me messages. It was really, really cool, really powerful. And I was like, you don't gotta pay me back, just make your monthly payments. Like, we don't have to pay back. So we did that. Still wasn't enough. People backed out, changed their minds, got scared. People got scared because of the generosity. Can you imagine that? They got fucking scared. They're like, hey, I thought about it and it just kind of feels weird, like that he doesn't even know me and he's giving me like a down payment and stuff, so I gotta back out. And I'm going, are you fucking serious? Like, here's like $1,300. Like, anyway, so that got weird. Then we had to do Toka Raise. You guys know what Toka Raise is? Good Samaritan program. Most of you guys probably don't, but you can have 5 of these Good Samaritans in your 6A run, and most people don't know about it, which ends up being the super clutch back pocket thing in this situation. And all that really is, without getting boring into the details, is that if someone doesn't have the money to get started in Magic and they make their first sale, they can enter the compensation plan for like $30. And it's not ideal, and All of you are probably confused right now, so it's fine. But it gets you 5 additional sales out of your 101 towards your bonus, towards your rank up. So we do that. Still wasn't enough. Now we're in July. We're past the deadline. So I pull in a favor and I call out to an adjutant and I say, hey, listen, technically the convention's on July 18th, and that's when we get our awards, so technically can't we have a little bit more time? And they're like, yeah, you guys have till the end of the week. So the amount of deadlines and cutoffs between beginning of January and when I actually officially hit 6A was probably like 15 deadlines that we missed. So when you are hitting a goal, or when you are focusing on a target like hitting 6A in 90 days or doing a 90-day sprint, you miss it, guys, it's okay. It's kind of meant to be like that, right? Because if it was so simple and so easy of just calling it and then hitting it, there would be no growth involved in that, right? So literally the morning of the convention in Las Vegas, we had all the paperwork in, but not payment. So I'm like talking to an adjutant, I'm like, listen man, the orders are in, it's real, it's official, come on, let's go, we get the award, make it happen. They're like, Balazs, we need payment. I'm like, we just don't have enough time for the payment. Like, you've had a lot of time. So I'm like, listen, absolutely by the end of July, it'll be done with payment. They're like, we shouldn't be doing this, it's bad, blah, 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 blah. But we know you're good for it. We know you're not fucking around, you're gonna do it. All right, so we did it, end of the month, and then it wasn't until August 8th, which is how many days ago? I don't even know. 18 days ago, that I got an email saying it was officially 1,000,000% done. And then I tell my wife, I'm like, listen, I'm going to take a month off and chill and relax. And then I just kept working. Not as hardcore as I did, but I was still doing stuff. I was still showing up to the Diamond Life coaching calls. I was still doing things, not because I have to, but because I genuinely love it. I love all of you guys. I love working with you guys. I love helping you guys. It's really like a passion of mine. And now I'm on this trip and I'm relaxing a little bit and working today and technically I'm speaking on stage. But you know, this is what you need to realize about this journey of an adjutant and your business is that you have to stretch, you have to grow, you have to collaborate, you have to work together with other people. And when everybody hits their goals in this chain, it's the only way that you can ever hit something like a -6. It is not an individual award at all. Do you guys actually know the highest rank that you can personally achieve? Alone, technically, yeah, it's a trick question. No, it's a trick question, so you're wrong. Yeah, who was at the brunch? Cheaters! Well, we talked about it this morning. So 6A2, in my opinion, is the peak, the pinnacle of personal rank achievement. The reason why is because to get to -3 and all the other dashes, it's just 6A2 duplicated. You understand? So 6A2 duplicated 6 levels deep, like to the power of 6 is -6. -6 just means to the power of 6. So we have 6 levels of doubling at 6A2 to hit -6. It's pretty insane. And it takes time. But what else are you going to do? Do you have a better plan? I'm just wondering. Do you guys have a better plan long term than this plan?
No.
So that's the point. So you're ahead of schedule, you don't have a better plan, and you're growing and evolving, and every single amount of effort and work that you put in can only ever serve you and grow from that point. So there's no loss. You can't go backwards in this business. You can't get worse than you are today. Think about that for a second. Can you be a worse speaker than you are today? No. Can you be a worse marketer? Can you be a worse leader? No. You can only improve. So then what's the risk? What's the loss? What's the downside? The only downside is if you don't show up and put in the work. That's the only downside, because you're losing time. One of my biggest fears when I started my business is that I wasn't, like I didn't build a business for 5 years, and I felt like I screwed up everything. Literally, I felt so behind. I felt so much guilt, and I made a mistake, and I screwed up, and then I had this like catch-up energy of urgency to get to -3, because I knew at -3 that's when we all get company profit sharing. So everything was about Dash 3 from that standpoint because I wanted to catch up before momentum starts. Do you guys know if we're in momentum right now or not? Are we in momentum? Put your hand up. No. Isn't that exciting? We're in the middle of the acceleration phase, which isn't even momentum yet. So things are going awesome. Enagic had $1 billion year in 2022. Outstanding, right? And after 49 years, it was their first $1 billion year. That's the beginning. Enagic's going to be a $10, $20 billion a year company. A year. So who's going to be a part of that? Yeah? Sweet, yeah. So it's really incredible that we found out about this at the stage that we are in our lives, and so many of you are really, really young. And it's not going to take you your whole life to 65, in my opinion, maybe some of you, but hopefully not, to hit legacy and beyond in this business. Because once it clicks, you can actually catch up really quickly. You guys want to hear the story about how somebody hit 6A in one webinar? Have you guys heard the story before? Yeah. Put your hand up if you've heard the story. Okay, not everybody. I'm going to share the story because it's really epic. So I was building my business, and I was doing it the old school way, which is fine. I was good at it. Live presentations, live demos, the drops, the water sharing, all the things. And even though looking back now, it's not as ideal as running ads and having webinars and all the automation and systems and all the things, I would have still done it that way had this way not come about. I would have still done it that way until I made it to the top. Just in contrast, took longer, was harder, more energy, more work, but I was still willing to do it anyways. Because I knew eventually I would meet somebody that has more influence, more reach, bigger audience, bigger email list, bigger skill set than me, and I would be able to partner with them. I knew eventually that was coming. So I just didn't know exactly how. So building my business, and the backstory is that I met somebody who was gonna introduce everything to the online space, and there was this guy named Ray who was getting pitched by another network marketing company to have all of Japan put in his downline as a gift. Can you imagine? So they were gonna expand their network marketing company to a new market in Japan, and they were gonna say, look, everybody gets to go in your downline from Japan if you come over here into this business. So that's a pretty sexy deal, right? It's a pretty sexy offer, like a whole country, automatically, you don't have to do any work, all of Japan's in your business. You're gonna be pretty set, right? So that's what the offer was on this guy's table. But then, my friend, Cam, he whispered in his ear and he said, before you make a decision, you gotta hear out Balazs and this water thing. Then he tells me, hey dude, no pressure, but it's you or all of Japan in his downline. I was like, are you serious? So I'm like, all right, let's fucking go for it. So we do the webinar, and the whole time they're like on Zoom or whatever, and they just have like no expression on their face. Super poker face. No expression. No happiness, no like annoyed or like they don't like it. I couldn't tell what this person was thinking or feeling for the whole presentation. So that's pretty hard to kind of stay excited and compose, and like some of you guys are doing it while I'm on stage, so it's similar. Most of you are reacting or smiling or doing something awesome. And so I did the presentation. They still don't say anything. Then they say they want to bring a couple of their business partners to another presentation. And now there's 3 dudes all sitting there, same thing. So I'm like, the only little bit of hope that I had was that they kind of came back for round 2. I was like, that's got to mean something positive. So that happens. Then finally they follow up and they say, you know what? We're going to go ahead with you guys instead of this Japan offer, and let's do it big. I'm like, all right. So he's like, let's do a live webinar, and this is the first live webinar that I did to a large audience. The Zoom call kind of didn't count because there was 5 of us. It just felt like a regular Zoom call. It wasn't a big, I think it was actually Skype. It was before Zoom. Fuck, dating myself here. What's Skype anyways, right? So anyways, back in the Skype days. And then we do this live webinar, and I remember being in my condo where I used to live with my wife in Burnaby back in the day, and I used to get ready for like 45 minutes and then like drive across town. It was like a big ordeal for me to do like presentations, right? And I'm laying on the sofa, I got my boxers on, a t-shirt on, and I'm looking at the clock, I'm like, I still don't have to do anything. It's like starting in 15 minutes. So I walk into my office, get on this laptop, and 1,300 people show up live. And I'm like, what? And then I'm like having all these crazy thoughts because I'm like, I don't think I've talked to 1,300 people since I started my business. Total. And these people just showed up on this one webinar. So I'm having all these paradigm breakdowns around like what I believe to be possible. I'm in my boxers, on this computer. It's all just weird, right? And I'm like trying to be like, okay, everything's cool. Then we start the webinar and I can't see any faces because it was webinar jam. So all you could see was a number in brackets that said 1,300 and something with a green light. And then it was like, you're live. So we're doing the presentation, and I can't remember what I said, but we were leading Enagic a secret. We weren't telling them that it was Enagic till the end, right? And all of a sudden someone says, is it Kangen water? In the chat with 1,300 people. And have that moment where my heart kind of sank because I'm like, this could get really bad and someone can have like a bit negative experience, which we know is not likely, but it could be like some negative person and then it screws up everything, right? And so the host is like, let's turn off the chat. let's like just hide everything, right? So now he turns off the chat and now I'm presenting in the dark. I see a number with a green light, no chat. Don't know what anybody's thinking. So I'm doing this presentation, I'm all excited, and at the very end we're like, we're gonna open up the chat, and if you wanna get started with a trifecta, put a 1 in the chat. If you wanna get a single machine, like a K8, put a 2. And if you're interested and you have questions, put a 3. So you open the chat, and all of a sudden, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, and it just went crazy. Okay? Now a lot of those people didn't actually buy, because some people are like that. But this guy hit 6A in one webinar. He had like 40 direct sales from his first webinar. He made like $170,000 in commissions, direct sales, and he freaking blew everything up. And that was the beginning where I realized that there's a much different, much better, much faster, much more efficient way to do things. And that's the reason why all of you are in this room, because from that first webinar, I just started sharing that story with people. Other people said, I can do that, I want to learn. Then Jang and Julian, I did something pretty smart. I said to them, I'm like, if this guy named Ray from Hawaii can do that in one webinar, what can you do? And I just challenged them. And they're like, watch this shit, bro. And I was like, I'm watching. And then he ended up hitting -3 in 9 months. And it was on Valentine's Day, I think. Margaret and I were sitting at the counter, and we were just having a glass of wine at my condo. My phone was like on the counter like this. And you know how you can get notifications, like push notifications? I got the push notifications from Enagic email that I had on like my VIP contacts, and it just started going, it wouldn't stop. And I just like started scrolling like this, and I made a video. I still have it somewhere on my computer. I made a video, and I just look at my wife, I'm like, nothing's ever gonna be the same. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you'll see. And that was my first 6-figure month in Enagic. Yeah. So now you're probably wondering, how do you guys go find a Ray, right?
Yeah.
You want me to tell you how? Yes. All right. So first thing that you need to do to put yourself in these types of opportunities is you have to study the people that you want to work with. So what do I mean by that? You have to study wealthy people. You have to study influencers. You have to study entrepreneurs. You have to study your target audience of people you want to associate with. What most of you do, what most people in general do, is they idolize people on the internet. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like a Kim Kardashian or whoever else, right? Maybe that's like, yeah, man, it's all good. I'm just a normal guy. But the point is that instead of like looking at them, they're so amazing, they're so smart, they're so whatever, find the commonalities. What are you interested in that they're interested in? What are they interested in that you could be interested in? How can you actually put yourself in a position to mingle and connect with these people? Most of us don't come from a background to be invited to the Grammys, do we? Anybody got a Grammy invite yet? Or any of these types of big events? No, right? Why? Because we're not in that circle. We're not part of the cool kids club in that way. But we can get access. How do we get access? We hang out where these people hang out. I'm not talking about necessarily super like celebrities. I'm not necessarily talking about that. There's influencers and entrepreneurs and successful people on the internet who are like Ray, who are internet marketers, who have the skills, they know how to run ads, they have teams of people that do content for them. All this stuff that we're doing alone in our businesses, editing our own videos, writing our own captions, editing our own graphics on Canva. There's people out there that have teams that do that for them, right? I now today have teams that help me with that stuff also, but I didn't when I started. So how can you fast track and accelerate meeting people like a Ray or many, many other people out there, and where do those people hang out? Do you understand what I'm saying here? So your job is to grow into somebody that can get into those rooms. So when there's an event or a mastermind or these types of things that are available inside the community, you got to go. Because that's going to stretch everything for you, right? There's an event in Sweden next week. There's still a few tickets left. You should go. You should go, 100%. Because there's going to be people in that room. It's going to be your content, your marketing, your strategy. It's all going to elevate by you stepping to that next level version of yourself by going to places like that. And if you're thinking, I can't afford to go to those things, you technically can't afford not to go. That's the truth. It's like we need to put ourselves in these environments and situations where we know our worth, and Enagic is the golden goose. Even though they have these other things, they have these skills, they have these audiences, they have so much of stuff that you might not have yet, they don't have Enagic. It's a win-win. You help them, they help you, right? You give them the offer, they come in and blow shit up and hit 6A in one webinar. Is that a pretty cool trade-off? Yeah. So that's how you have to start thinking, is you're gonna do your regular marketing day to day, right? You're gonna focus on your avatar and the person that you used to be, because that's the easiest person for you to sell to. It's the person that you understand the most, is who you used to be, right? The pain, the struggle, the mindset. The person you used to be is the person you know intimately. So that's your bread and butter, that's your day-to-day, that's what you're gonna do for marketing. But on the side, as part of your strategy, you're gonna put yourself in these rooms. And you only need a couple, guys. You only need a couple people like that. And that's why it's important, like when we talk about 6A2 being the peak for personal business, it's because you wanna set up your structure in Enagic to prepare for when you meet this person like a Ray. Does this make sense for everybody? So it's not the end-all be-all of how you build your business. It's just the daily method of operation in preparation for someone who's got the ability to go 6A in one webinar or 6A in a couple of months, and then you place them in the structure that it could benefit you long-term to get to the dashes. So everything is in preparation, because you're not ever going to make it to dash 5, dash 6, dash 8 selling one trifecta at a time. That's the truth. Other people might not tell you that. That's the truth. What you need to find are these people that have the years and years and years of experience and success in something that's similar: online marketing, affiliate marketing, network marketing, sales, influencer, social media, success, a lot of subscribers on YouTube, and they're like a content creator, course creator, coach. Those are the verticals that are the closest to what we do, and all they got to do is adjust and tweak a couple of things, and they got it like this, instantly. They're like, I get it. Instead of what some people are, I don't know, tell me again, what is it, water machine? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's an uphill battle, right? Like starting right at the beginning. What about starting with somebody that's already there? They're right there. And then all they do is they point their efforts and resources and team and marketing dollars to this offer all of a sudden. That's all they got to do. Redirect energy. And now they're in your business. So that's how I've done it. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
What time are we at? How much? I've been up here for an hour and a half. Holy shit. That went by so fast. All right. You guys have any questions? Shoot. No, because like I want to be of the most value, and I could talk about random stories all day long, but what I want to do is give you guys value because you're in the room. So why don't we shift gears to like being of the most value of you guys in the room? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The cogs meaning in your business or your brand or what? Yeah. Yeah, well, I can't speak for everybody, but in my case, there was a lot of forward planning. So, in my particular case, when I was doing my door to door career and I got it up to a place where I was running my own office, and eventually I groomed a couple other people to have their own offices. So, it was very similar to like the Nagic model in a way where I mentored somebody, they became ready for their own office like I had, but we couldn't have two bosses in the same office, so they branched off, started an office in another city, and then I got an override because I groomed them to that position. And so I got a little cut of all the sales they were doing door to door in that office, which added to my check. And then I did that one more time with another guy. And so I had that experience of like, I was running one office, there's two other offices of regional, I became a regional director, was my title. And then all of a sudden I ran into this thing where I'm like, this isn't gonna work when I become a dad. And I just had this epiphany. I was just being honest. And it's not that it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked the way I wanted it to work. So in many people's eyes, having that job was actually incredible because I would go to the office at 9 and I'd be done by 1. So it was pretty sweet, right? And during that time, I had a sales meeting in the morning for my door-to-door crew that went out and knocked doors. I stuck behind at the office by myself, and I did interviews to recruit more people into my door-to-door team. And then however many interviews I had that day, my job was done. Then I could go home, and then all I would do is post my ads on Craigslist, so they kept staying at the top of the list to get more people to join my door-to-door team. I just kept booking interviews. So that was kind of my gig. So if I tell this to most people, it's better than what they do now for their job. And I was making about $200,000 to $250,000 a year, which was also pretty good considering I didn't have kids and I didn't have a lot of expenses and stuff. The money side was nice too. But when I future paced in my mind and I thought to myself, what are the specific situations or circumstances where I have to say I can't do whatever because I have to go to work? I started thinking like that. And because it was a straight commission job that people had working with me at the door-to-door, my biggest thought was like, I can't actually stop. Because the second I stop showing up, everybody quits, and then I have to rebuild the team from zero, and then what am I, regional director of empty building office space? Doesn't work. That's most people's situation. So I started asking myself, how can I future pace to become a dad, to have a lifestyle of residual income, passive income, location freedom, and all these types of things. And the only thing that I knew of that I liked, that I thought was a good idea, through my parents and seeing them when I was a kid, they had different experiences with MLMs, like trying to make it happen in other companies when I was a kid. And they didn't really have like a lot of success in it, but I was around it. I like had like a bit of awareness to that model. And then I read a bunch of books on network marketing. And one of the things that I discovered during that book is I'm like, I really love this business model. And what I love about it is the direct correlation of helping other people succeed, and then that comes back. So the focus for all of you is not on yourself, it's on others, and then it comes full circle, and that only exists, in my opinion, in this model. So I love that. But then I had low self-worth because of my experience with Enagic 5 years prior when I tried to sell it and everyone made fun of me and I heard all the negativity just like everybody else hears it. But it was even worse back then because this was 15 years ago. And the whole talk around alkaline water and a lot of the health stuff that is like more normal these days, back then you were like a complete quack job if you talked about like any of this stuff. Like you really were. It was like, you were a fucking crazy person, right? Like that was the response from people. And so it was extra difficult to get through to people's heads at that time. So the plan was, how do I build a business for a few years that allows me to have the option and the choice to be free? That was the mission, that was the vision. So I came back around to Enagic, and I went to an event, and there was a guy named Bob Girdelli. Have you guys ever heard of a guy named Bob Girdelli in Enagic? Holy shit, I've been doing this for a minute. He used to be like the guy in Enagic, right? He's still the man, but he's in a different stage of his life. So Bobby Girdelli was the guy who like did the most epic water demo. So if you go on YouTube and you search his name, Bob Girdelli, Enagic Kangen water demo, you'll see the little timestamp on YouTube, and it's from like 2008 or 2009 or something like that. So this guy, I went to an event, and he says on stage, I'm in the audience, just like you guys today, just, you know, I think I was like a 3A or 4A or something like this. And he goes, I built this business for 3 years, hardcore, like obsessed. And then I'm gonna go find a wife and have kids. He didn't even have a girlfriend. I was like, who the fuck does Bobby think he is? But he was so confident. He's like, I'm gonna build this business, I'm gonna set myself free, I'm gonna go find a wife, I'm gonna have kids. And this is a really cool story. So I go to the Enagic event just now in Las Vegas for the convention. I see Bobby, right? He's walking in the hall. I go up to Bobby, I'm like, hey Bobby, how you been, man? He's like, hey Balazs, holy shit, man, you're killing it, right? He's saying some nice stuff. I don't think he said holy shit, he's a very proper guy. But anyways, he's like, nice to see you're doing a really great job. And then I'm like, how's things for you? And he kind of goes like this, he like looks around, he's like, I haven't been doing anything for 10 years, man. Right after he said that shit on stage, he stopped building Enagic. He's a -5. What did he do? Went to, can't remember what country it is, Philippines? I want to say Philippines, I could be wrong. It's maybe Thailand or something like that. Anyways, went to one of those Asian places, found his wife, has 2 kids. He's been a present father ever since, doesn't even do shit. Doesn't have to. Then he says to me, Balazs, you've inspired me to get back in the game, and now I'm going to do it online. And I'm going, fucking shit. What a cool full circle moment. So that is like what we are able to do in this business, is like you can literally set yourself up in this way. From there, one of my next things to talk about the health journey, because you're like, how do you do them all? Well, I dropped the ball majorly on health and fitness. If you see some of my old videos, man, holy shit, I look like a fucking balloon or something, you know? My face is like a big ball, and like, I look weird, I'm inflamed, I'm all red in the face, and that was literally me being like, I'll do fucking anything to get to the top of this business. I won't even go to the gym, fuck the gym. I'm just on calls all day, right? And then by the end of the day, I would forget to eat, and then I'd look at my wife, I'd be like, I need a Subway, or like, I need like a pizza or a burger or something, just to like calm my nerves of like, go, close business, back-to-back calls. Like, it was like so bad for my system. So I had to change that shit around, and I'm going on 3 years now since I hired my trainer. I realized that for me personally, I need accountability. I need someone to show up at my house. I have a home gym. He trains me Monday through Friday, and it really made a big difference for me to start getting that on track. So to answer your question, you don't do them all at the same time, mostly. You can be healthy. You don't have to do the full neglecting of everything like I did for a period of time, but something has to be the precedent, something has to be the priority. So that's what I'm saying is like, right now in your life, in your business, you're gonna have to pay the price at one point or another regardless. When are you going to pay the price for what life you want to create? Now? No. Or do you want to delay?
Now.
Because a lot of you are delaying. A lot of you go, you know what, I kind of want to work hard today, but I also rather watch footy today. Or I'd rather go to the park. I'd rather go to the beach. Oh, it's so nice outside. Let's go have a good time. So what I believe is the better way to do it is quality over quantity. Not that you neglect your kids or you neglect your health, but make it very impactful. Like, go have a 30-minute workout. Be like dialed in on that, right? Go spend like an hour of quality time with your spouse per day, and then have a weekly date night or something, or like a little bit of a weekend getaway or a trip to reconnect, instead of it being like the priority at this season of your life. Because otherwise you're gonna delay, and then we're gonna be in momentum. And Enagic's gonna be in momentum with or without you. Do you understand that? This was the fear that I had, is like, Enagic is going where it's going with or without each of us. It's not stopping. But how much we capitalize on the opportunity and on the timing is up to us. So in my opinion, I wanted to get ahead of the curve. I always used to say to people, I'm like, one day this shit's gonna be on Oprah, and she's gonna be like, you get a K, you get a K, you get a K. Right? She's gonna do that shit, I swear. I can see it. It's coming. She's gonna drop K8s on the whole audience one day. And that's going to be a massive sign that we're in momentum, right? Because it's starting. And Enagic has never paid money to be advertised anywhere in 49 years. Guess what they did this year? The Los Angeles Angels baseball team in America. And I don't even know if they paid for that. I have no evidence or proof. It might be just like a partnership thing that they set up, like a win-win of some sort. I don't know. But guys, that's the very first time in company history right now. What do you think that's going to create? What do you think that's going to happen? Credibility, a lot less negativity around the products and the scam comments. A lot of that's going to start to decline. So if you're able to persist through that right now and have thick skin and not like go fucking cry about it because someone says something mean to you, you're going to win. Because eventually when it's easy and every single person knows about it, understands its value, all that stuff, opportunity will have passed by. There'll still be a little bit of money to make because you'll always make good commissions on a direct sale, but that exponential hockey stick curve that hasn't started yet, that time will have passed. So that's what I'm saying is like, you have to have that window where you're obsessed with something, and in this case, everybody in the room is obsessed with the magic and making this thing happen. And it's all in preparation for when you meet the person that ends up being one of your key players. Because once that happens, here's the thing, you only need one. And here's why. Because once you get the first one, you use that as a case study to get the next one. Does that make sense? Yeah. Once you can say that this person in my team created this epic result, and they're an internet marketer, they're an affiliate marketer, they're whatever, and they went on and create massive success, you take that story and you go get the next one. You go get the next one. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm getting crazy epic people in my business, but that's what I'm doing. I'm just sharing the stories from people who've done it before. You just need one. Helpful?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. What other questions do we have? I don't have a watch. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's so great being here. We're supposed to do Q&A later, right? Okay, what time is it? 10, okay, one question.
My question is, how do you keep discipline? What's your advice on keeping that discipline going?
Keeping discipline going. The easiest way that I've found discipline is to just have it in the calendar. No white space in your calendar. Look at your phone right now, on your Google phone or Google Maps, or starting to lose my brain cells here. Go on your phone and open up your calendar and show me your calendar, and I'll show you the likelihood of you succeeding in an agent and in life in general. How much white space is in your calendar? Oh, you have dark mode? Okay, white or dark. The point is, it doesn't have something that is allocated for timing. So how do you stay disciplined? You put all the important things in your calendar, right? It's really that simple. Is, you know, workout every day, family time, downtime, nap time, any time that you think is kind of like silly to put it in the calendar, it still needs to be allocated in the calendar. And if you just have a routine of like, whatever's in the calendar, I execute, then you'll be disciplined, then you'll have success. Does that make sense? Most of us are loyal to our calendars when it's for other people. Think about it right now. When you put something in your calendar, what is it? A doctor's appointment? What else? Maybe your kids have an activity like a soccer practice or something. Is it in the calendar? Where's all the shit that is important to you? Is it in the calendar? Most people know. Why? I don't know. We're weird about that kind of shit. I don't know why. It's like, how dare I put something in the calendar that's for me? That's selfish, right? But you got to fill your own cup up first. So when you have a set schedule for certain things, it creates discipline, and discipline creates freedom. And then eventually, when you stick to that long enough, you create the type of freedom where you don't technically even need discipline on a lot of things because your business is set up, right? Like when we're on this trip right now with my family, every single day I have 200, 250 sales going in my business. Like, it's nuts. And I haven't worked at all since I hit -6. Like, you know, reasonably speaking. But I haven't like been on calls and webinars and all this kind of stuff. Like, I've just been enjoying the growth of the business. And that allows me to now have a completely different type of calendar and schedule where I can wipe things clean for a month while I'm traveling and have like a different criteria. But then I have to adjust routines and things that are important here also, right? Does that help? All right, sweet. All right, so before we wrap this up, time, 5 minutes? All right, sweet. So I want to do something really special. I want to bring up my family to the stage here. Dave, Grandma, Nagymama. How many Hungarians are in the room? you gotta sing happy birthday to my grandma in Hungarian. Come on, guys, up on stage, please.